Have you ever looked at your passport and wondered, who actually owns this thing? I mean, it has my name, my photo, my personal details. It feels like it should be mine, right? But then it also says it's the property of Her Majesty's government, or whatever your country's equivalent is. So, what's the real story? Well, the answer is way more complicated and fascinating than you might think. And it involves a legal rabbit hole that questions the very nature of the Crown itself. Let's travel back to 1955. The House of Lords in the UK is in session, and a peculiar question comes up. Who legally owns a British passport? It seems like a simple question, but the answer provided by a man named Earl Jowett, a former Attorney General, sent ripples through the legal world. He stood up and declared that the Crown could not own a passport. Why? Because, in the eyes of the law, the Crown as an entity simply doesn't exist. Now, pause for a moment. How can the Crown not exist? We hear about it all the time. The Crown Prosecution Service, Crown Land, the Crown Jewels, the Queen or King is the head of state. It seems completely counterintuitive. But Jowett was pointing out a very specific and very important legal distinction. He was talking about the Crown as a corporation sole. This is a legal concept that allows an individual, by virtue of their office, to act as a legal entity. Think of it like a one-person company. The office itself is the company, and whoever holds that office is its current director. This allows for continuity. When one monarch dies, the office, the corporation's sole, continues with their successor. Property and powers pass seamlessly from one reign to the next. So, if the Crown is a corporation sole, how could Jowett claim it doesn't exist in law? Here's where it gets tricky. He was arguing that while the monarch herself, the individual king or queen, is a person and can own things, the Crown, as an abstract concept, is not a legal person. It's a symbol of the executive power of the government. But you can't sue the Crown in the same way you can sue a person or a company. You have to sue a specific government department, like the Home Office, which is represented by a Minister of the Crown. This distinction is crucial. When your passport says it's the property of His Majesty's government, it's not saying it belongs to the Queen or King personally. It's saying it belongs to the executive branch of the state, administered through a specific government department. This is a fundamental aspect of a constitutional monarchy. The monarch is the symbolic head, but the actual power and property are vested in the government that operates in their name. This is the doctrine of ministerial responsibility. So, let's get back to your passport. The statement that it's government property is essentially a legal fiction, but a necessary one. It establishes that the passport isn't your personal property to do with as you please. It's a travel document issued to you under the royal prerogative, an ancient set of powers belonging to the monarch but now exercised by government ministers. This means they have the authority to grant, deny, and even revoke a passport. Think of it like a library card. The card has your name and photo, and you use it to access a service, in this case, international travel. But the library retains ownership of the card. They set the rules for its use, and they can take it back if you misuse it. Your passport functions in a similar way. It's a conditional privilege, not an absolute right. The government is essentially saying, we are lending you this document to facilitate your travel, but we retain ultimate control over it. This control is justified on grounds of national security and foreign policy. For instance, they might need to cancel a passport if someone is suspected of terrorism or if they're trying to flee justice. This idea has been tested in courts around the world. In a famous UK case from 1988, a man named Mr. Everett had his passport application renewal refused. The government argued it was their right under the royal prerogative. The court agreed that the power existed, but, crucially, They also ruled that the decision to refuse a passport could be subject to judicial review. This was a landmark moment. It meant that while the government holds the power, they can't exercise it arbitrarily. They have to have a good reason, and their decision can be challenged in a court of law. This strikes a balance between state power and individual liberty. So, what does this all mean for you, the passport holder? Firstly, you don't own your passport in the traditional sense. You are its keeper, its authorized user. This is why you can't legally sell it, alter it, or lend it to someone else. Doing so is a serious crime. The government needs to maintain the integrity of the document as a secure form of identification. If individuals could treat it like their own property, it would undermine its entire purpose and make international travel a chaotic and insecure process. Secondly, the government has the right to take it away. This power is rarely used, but it's there. Reasons can range from owing significant child support in some countries to being a flight risk in a criminal case, or posing a threat to national security. The passport is a tool of the state, and its issuance is tied to your status as a citizen in good standing. But let's circle back to Earl Jowett's surprising statement in 1955. His point wasn't just a quirky legal technicality, it was a profound statement about the nature of power in a modern democracy. By saying the Crown doesn't exist as a legal entity that can own things, he was reinforcing the principle that power doesn't belong to a single, unaccountable monarch. Instead, it resides within a system of government, departments, and ministers who are accountable to Parliament and the courts. The phrase property of the Crown is, in essence, a shorthand. It's a historical holdover that represents the complex legal framework of the state. It signifies that the object in question, be it a passport, a park, or a warship, is under the control of the executive government, acting in the name of the monarch for the public good. So, the next time you're waiting in an airport line, take another look at your passport. It's not just a booklet with stamps. It's a physical manifestation of a centuries-old legal and political drama. It represents the delicate balance between your freedom to travel and the state's need to maintain order and security. It tells a story of the evolution from an absolute monarch to a constitutional government. And while you may not technically own it, you are the reason it exists. It is your identity, your citizenship, and your ticket to the world, all held in a delicate trust with the state. The question of who owns it isn't just about a physical object, it's about who holds power and how that power is kept in check. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this dive into legal history interesting, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.